Great. So I'm going to be talking about this data product I built. Let me start the slideshow. I'm going to try to keep it engaging. I'm trying to tell it like a story, right? I want to keep your guys' attention. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to stop me. I would love to answer your questions. But yeah, these are my 5 lessons from a failed data product. So why am I giving a talk on a failed data product, right? This was actually Shaw's idea, like, oh, why don't you talk about this product you built? I was like, well, I'm not really working on it anymore because I didn't really get traction on it. He's like, oh, well, you can make it about a failed data product, like what lessons learned, right? So learning a lesson is, the most important thing, right? Failure is just, something that you learn from, right? And so this talk has helped me reflect on, what went right or wrong. So, and I have this quote here from Floyd Mayweather, which is that fighters are so worried about losing. I'm here to tell you that as an amateur, I lost fights. You live and you learn. Winning and losing is part of competing. The best fight each other, no different from what I did, right? So like, this is like, I built a data product. I failed, but I'm gonna come back next time and try to win. So about me, right? I'm doing data science since 2019. You can check out my portfolio website, bossofthethief.github.io. On the top right here, you see one of my tutoring profiles on Wyzant. I am faculty at LMU, and you also put a picture of my LinkedIn, which I'm happy to connect with you on there. Please feel free to connect. I'm up to 3,000 followers and, always trying to post interesting content on there. This all started because I was on Upwork back in 2019 and I came up with I started doing some small freelance projects and I came up with this idea for the Keepa API. So what is the Keepa sheet? So Keepa API is an API that connects to Amazon, that connects on Amazon price history data, right? So if you know anything about Amazon, you know that you have different types of sellers. You have FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. You have FBM, fulfilled by merchant. You have new items, used items, and then you have buy box items, right? So all these different sellers, it's a free market, right? So they can sell for whatever price that they want, right? So Keepa keeps track of all this data and they have an API that lets you see what prices are. So I'm going to show this demo of my product. Also, just want to point out here that you have this thing called a product ASIN. That's the Amazon serial number. So each item that's sold on Amazon has a unique identification number. So that's an ASIN, right? So we're going to watch this demo and see if you can understand. Let me know if you can hear it. And I'm going to show you how to use the Keepa API business intelligence tool. So I have 11 ASINs populated here. As you can see, this last ASIN is for Q is called Q8WN. That is for this C4 energy drink, with Starburst C4 energy drink. I have the code already loaded in app script. I'm going to hit this button, click to get analytics. And it's going to populate with all of the data about these individual products: the title, the latest price, the date price updated, the product group, the average 30-day rank, and the categories. Powerful analytics that are for sale now for the low price of $150. Thank you. Okay, so that's sort of a high level description, right? That's a demo, right? So if you notice, right, it's a Google Sheets. Google Sheets lets you write code in the browser, right? In the sheet. So it's not like an Excel sheet, right? It's a Google Sheet. So you can write code that will dynamically update the sheet, right? So I'm calling the API, processing, getting a response, and then parsing that response to print it in the sheet. So let's go to the next thing. So these are the 5 lessons. I wanted to transition this into a product. So how I did that, how I built a landing page, what I learned about marketing, what I learned about Google Ads, and what I learned about the customer. I'm going to talk about all of that here. So, okay. So this was built on Google Sheets, right? On app script, it's about 200 lines of code to build this custom spreadsheet, right? But then, so I'm packaging that into a file and then selling that file with the code on the internet. So I need to basically find a way to, I had to figure out all this stuff to do that, right? To use the Keepa API to get the customer has to supply their own API key, right? Because I can't give my API key out to like 100 customers, right? So that was a major problem, right? Is I'm selling this .gs file, API key is not included. Then, but once, and then there's a setup as well. You have to actually go into Google App Script. You have to launch App Script. You have to copy and paste the code in there, and then you have to set up the Google Sheet so that to authorize it to call an external API. So there's like a lot of steps here, and it's a lot of stuff going on to get this to work. But I'm trying to say, hey, look, instead of me doing it custom for each client, I want to sell it as a product, right? Because once you have a product, you can scale that product. So the other thing I needed to do is, so I have to identify the customer, and then I created this Gumroad page. Gumroad is a free product sales thing, right? So here's my Gumroad page, right? Amazon Market Intelligence Tool, Keepa API integration. So, okay. So initial success on Upwork, right? Just this year, I made $3,000 on doing different Upwork contracts for this product, right? So there is a demand for it, there is interest for it, right? And also, if you search like on Google Upwork Keepa, right? So you're looking for a person who knows Keepa API stuff. My gig on Upwork is the first one that pops up, right? Like first, like raw Google search, like I'm already there, right? Because I've got a 4.9 rating and a 25 reviews, right? Like that's pretty good, right? 4.9 out of 5 is really good. So, I've had success. I'm good at like dealing with clients, and this product does solve my customer's need, right? Here's a link to my Upwork page. It's got the basic pricing and it's got a screenshot, right? So I've built out like this whole sort of brand around this product. So the first step was I wanted to, instead of, because each of these projects I do on Upwork, they're like $300 projects, right? But I have to do them custom for each client, right? Like I have to go back and forth with them. It takes me several hours to do it, and it's a lot of manual labor, right? So my idea was, look, instead of me doing this for clients on a custom basis, why don't I create a .gs file and just sell the file, right? Because the customer doesn't know coding, so they won't know how to write this code. I can give them the code, and then I just sell them the file with the code in it, and then they're just responsible for installing the file, right? So I came up with this insight that, hey, I can create a product for this, right? So I direct the customer to the landing page, send them to Gumroad to buy the .gs file, right? I'm not handling payments or anything on my landing page. Like that would require Stripe, and that would require a bunch of other stuff. I let Gumroad handle all of that, right? And then I'm expecting the customer to install the .gs file in their Google Sheets, and then they're able to get these analytics, right? Okay, that's my transition into product, right? There's a lot of explaining to do. It is fairly like complex, and that might be one of the weaknesses, right? Okay, so I needed a landing page. This was actually crazy because I went to this networking event in Irvine, and I was like, I was talking to people about what I'm doing. I said, hey, I'm building a data product. I met this marketer. His name was Peter Wynn. And he is like, look, you need to build a landing page. I was like, yeah. He's like, you need to use Unbounce. I was like, okay. I looked it up. It was like $149 a month. I thought that was kind of steep. Like that was like more. I thought, oh, landing page, you could be able to do that for like 20, 30 bucks a month. But no, like this is Unbounce is the best landing page site. So it's $149 a month. So I used Unbounce. I added a user testimonial from one of my happy users, and I linked the person to my Gumroad page, right? So here's a screenshot of my landing page, right? It's a Keepa API market intelligence tool for Amazon sellers. That's a mouthful, right? And then our Google Sheet enables you to retrieve data on demand for any ASIN, so that you can compare data from multiple ASINs in a single place. And then there's a link to the Gumroad page, right? And then I'm putting a little small disclaimer. Note, you will need your own Keepa API product key to run this code. The Keepa API product key costs about 49 pounds per month. Keepa is based out of Germany. So as you can see, my page, right, it had 2,100 visitors, good, amount of visitors, but no conversions, right? So that kind of shows you that this was not landing, this was not working as a product. And I did end up lowering the price from $49 to $19. And then I did end up getting one sale off of the $19. Okay. Next, marketing. Marketing is everything, right? How do you market? How do you get your product out there? I launched it on Product Hunt, which was really exciting. I got a lot of interest on the Product Hunt. I got 7 upvotes. I had a bunch of people DMing me on LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean, this was not, a huge success, right? I mean, seven followers for it. But it was exciting at the time. Other marketing things I did was I wrote these small medium articles, right? So I'd write these medium articles explaining how I did it, what it is. That again just adds to my brand name. Right now, when people are searching for Keepa API, they're getting that, hey, look, Boss Latif is an expert in this. And I have gotten contacted by a lot of people through these medium articles, including Shaw, including people on Twitter. Like they've seen this, right? And they're seeing I'm diagramming everything, right? So this is helpful marketing, right? It's to become kind of a thought leader. Okay, so then I got an idea to run YouTube ads. So I hired a freelancer on Fiverr to build me a marketing video. So I'm gonna share this with you guys. So that's a pretty good marketing video, right? Like kind of dramatic, kind of like explains the product, and develops interest into that product. So Google Ads. So I was using Google Ads to drive traffic to my page. So like the keywords were like Keepa, API, marketing, Amazon. Right. I spent like over $1,000 on this marketing funnel. And yeah, I did get some leads through Google Ads. So really that was, but it was expensive and it didn't really work. So that was like, it's not, buying ads is not like I guess the lesson is buying ads is not gonna guarantee success, right? Like paid traffic is good, but it's not like gonna like, it still depends on your product. Like you have to really have a compelling product that people are like really excited to buy, right? Which was what I wasn't able to do. So yeah, Google Ads didn't work. But lesson 5, right, is that the customer, you got to understand the customer. These Amazon sellers, I'm still getting contacted like every month on Upwork for these projects. I just finished this project for Paul this like last week, right? He messaged me, I have a large list of ASINs. I would like to use the Keepa API to get current use price and historical 1-year use condition, highest price and lowest price. Is this possible? Right. So I did complete that project. So there is demand, right? It's just how do I get a product out there? I have another quote from another customer from an Upwork potential, right, saying that he's using SellerAmp and GoToLister, right? These are products that exist for Amazon sellers, and people are, need tools. These Amazon sellers need tools. How am I doing on time, Shah? I think I'm like right on time.
Yeah, we're good. We got a few more minutes if you have
Okay.
more, but we're good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the future direction is AI enablement, right? Why I think AI is not being used in this sort of data realm. I think if I could find some way to automate or use generative AI on this data, like I could be able to get insights for it. My goal or my dream, if I was given like that sufficient, if I had sufficient time or money, is to build a suite of products, right? To build like a SaaS, right? Because that's the dream, is to like have a SaaS um product, right? That people are paying monthly to for a product, right? So here's an example of a company that's doing a good job, right? Helium 10. They have they sell a monthly subscription, so $39 a month, $90 a month, or $250 a month, and they give you a bunch of tools that will help you drive traffic to your listings, right? Find highly profitable products, right? These are all things for e-commerce sellers, right? So these guys are kind of like the goal, right? And this is my competition, and they're doing really well, right? So yeah, Helium 10 has a suite of tools. This is like what it takes to be successful, right? Another one is Jungle Scout, right? Jungle Scout, Amazon Intelligence Unlocked. Whether you want to start selling on Amazon or accelerate your brand's growth, Jungle Scout has the industry leading data, tools, and expertise to help you succeed, right? So this is a data entrepreneur. This is a data entrepreneur, right? Like this is someone created by someone. They've created a solution. So, the good thing about Keepa API and Amazon sellers is it's a big market, right? So you're going to be able to find customers, a lot of people that want this. The downside to being in a big market, there's already big players there, right? There's already competitors there. So if I really want to, gain market share, I've got to compete with them, right? I've got to undercut them or just like provide superior tools. So I'm not first to market, right? I'm not the first guy here doing this. This has been done. There's a ton of tools out there, and that's sort of what you learn about this markets, about markets and tech and data, is like it's yeah, I had some initial success, but there's a lot of incumbents out there. So but really the future is, look, offer something unique, offer something easy to use, something like so attractive, something so irresistible that like people can't say no to it, right? So yeah, I've had a lot of learning on this. This is my first venture, and I've taken the Keepa API sheet down, right, the website down, just because I wasn't getting much traction on it. So, want to live to fight another day. But there's still a lot more that can be done in this space. So yeah, that's sort of my presentation. Any questions?
Yeah, well, let's thank Basil for a great presentation. I really like the just kind of how you kind of just transparently broke down the whole process and the learnings and all that. So thanks for that. Let's do Q&A. So if you guys have questions, feel free to just jump off mute or drop it in the chat and we can just get Q&A going. So while the gears are turning, I got a bunch of questions here. So I want to start with the YouTube ads. So you said it didn't work. Did you not get any conversions through YouTube?
We ran Google ads, then YouTube ads, right? So the idea was, if people are already watching videos about like how to use the Keepa API, how to, that means that was solving a major problem, right? Which is like a lot of people might not know what the Keepa API is, but if they're already watching YouTube videos about it, then they're learning about it or they're interested in it. So running the ads there would be like perfect, right? Yeah, I mean, I didn't get any conversions because and I, it wasn't that the marketing wasn't effective. I think the product wasn't effective, right? Because it's just, there's so many like layers to it. You need it you get a Keepa API key. You need to install the Google Sheet. You
Right.
need to do all that. So I think that's where I was losing people.
Yeah, there was a lot of friction for customers to start getting the value.
Exactly.
Well, I'll just keep going with questions
Go for it.
if people don't have any. But feel free to jump in or drop something in the chat if something comes up. So it seems like you had a lot of really good signal on Upwork. So like people were reaching out to you. There's obviously something there, and you had, handful of customers. You had those 25 reviews. Like, what did those customers typically look like? Was it a particular niche of Amazon sellers? Was there any regularity or any patterns in the people that did like contract out your services and ultimately leave a review?
Yeah, good question. Was there any regularity in the customers? I would say somewhat, yeah. So the regularity came from, look, I have a bunch of ASIN. Well, so like, and then this is like not a ton of regularity. So like maybe 5 to 10 customers, but they have a bunch of ASINs. They're like usually a small business, right? Or like a solo entrepreneur or something. And they're trying to figure out like how, like they're trying to find the lowest price. Like they're trying to figure out pricing, right? Because if you're trying to sell something on Amazon, you know, you want to be the best price, then you're going to get the most sales. So that was sort of the thing. Here's another issue with the thing is Keepa already offers a Chrome plugin. So it was only the people are able to get the data that Keepa has from the Chrome plugin. It's only when you need to compare multiple ASINs at a like where that you can't use the plugin, right? So if you have like 10 or more ASINs, then and you need that like in a single place, that was what problem I was solving. So yeah.
So basically, people had a bunch of these ASINs and they wanted to figure out which one was the cheapest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then why were they doing that? So you said they're trying to figure out pricing, but could you maybe give like an example of what what the customer was selling or thinking of selling, and then the different products that were in this like list of 1,000 ASINs, say.
Okay, what were they selling? I just did one. I just did a project on this month. So let me look at his data. I think it was books. Yeah, he was selling books. And he was trying to figure out like what the he was interested in the used buy box. So he was trying to sell used copies of these books, and then the buy box is a button that like you can instantly buy. So he was interested in like the used buy box price.
Okay, so it sounds like they're seeking like arbitrage opportunities. They're
Exactly.
finding these products and they're like, oh, I have a resource or a supplier of this that I can potentially make some money. Okay, that makes sense. I guess I have more questions, but we got one in the chat. Sajad asked, based on your experience, how much of your product can be replaced by generative AI in the next 1 or 2 years?
So yeah, I mean, I am trying to figure out AI things. So it's like your question is right, but generative AI, I'm not sure because look, generative AI is how do I come up with an answer to a question based off of like existing data, right? Or whatever, like existing web pages. But this is more like, I mean, because you wouldn't want a generative AI to make up prices for you, right? Like that would be stupid. Like, so you unless you had, I don't know, I'm trying to think of that myself as like, how do you train a model like a RAG or like some sort of small LLM, SLM, right? To like on this data to like give you something useful. I don't know. Maybe if you could chat with like a Keepa API chatbot, it could give you answers on like prices. But I mean, those prices are already available, so I'm not sure. That's a good question though.
We got good time, so we got like 7 more minutes. So keep the questions coming. That one customer was selling books. Were there any?
Okay, there
Doesn't
was
seem to be
one.
any like. Yeah, go ahead.
So there was one customer early this year where he was a Pacific Northwest sale like light bulb lighting company. So
Hmm.
they were selling light bulbs, and he's like, I need to monitor that my light bulbs are not being resold at like undercut. Like like there's a thing called MAP violation, which is minimum advertised price, which is the manufacturer sets a minimum price for a product, so you cannot sell for less than the what the manufacturer sets. So he was looking for a tool that could monitor the prices listed by these ASINs, like the prices being listed. So that was an interesting use case.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you said like 5 to 10 customers, there was some regularity that they were kind of in that previous camp of like looking for arbitrage opportunities. This one was looking for this like these map violations.
Mhm.
Were there any other different types, like any other themes you saw?
Yeah, okay. There is, but it's kind of an unrelated thing. So Keepa API offers this thing called a deals endpoint. So it'll notify you of when products are going on sale, when like it's a deal, right? And so I did have a bucket of customers that were looking for like live updates on when these deals were posted, right? So then, but then that's a different product, right? That's not using, because my product was using the product endpoint. This was using the deals endpoint. So it's a totally different product altogether, and it's a different use case. But I did notice that too. So, but that doesn't really fit in this category, right?
I feel like there's a lot to talk about here, and I don't know if we'll get to it all in the Q&A session. Maybe I'll ask about a different area, which was Unbounce and writing out the landing page. So you said like Unbounce is like the best. What was your experience with that? Do you feel like it was worth the 150 a month?
Yeah, good question. So a landing page, right? The goal is just to like link people to it so that then they want to buy like your product, right? And so it is an art form, right? Of like, how do you craft the messaging in a way that like wants makes the customer want to buy. I actually didn't write the text on it. I had a friend, a marketing person, write the landing page, craft the landing page. But yeah, I mean, I think $150 is a good enough, like, it was worth it. I mean, you have to buy the domain separately too. So I had to buy the domain from GoDaddy, then link it to Unbounce. So that was another cost. And then, but then once you have that landing page, like you're able to, if you have like a good workflow, like, the landing page can make you a lot of money, like if you do that. But it's just, it's worth it if you can, get that product market fit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna check it out. Does it have like a place for collecting emails and like sending out newsletters,
Yeah,
or that be separate? Okay.
yeah, we weren't collecting emails, but I think it would have that feature. Yeah, I think it does.
All right, so we got time for like one more question. So if you guys, anyone has questions, feel free to drop it or
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
think this is a great session. A couple of things. One is, are you posting the recorded session later somewhere?
Yeah, we're gonna upload it on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. And the other question for Basil, great presentation, like, 5 things that we learned. One thing I realize is that this is not like a end product per se. It's more of a service that you're productizing, right? So it's not something that an end user would want to buy, but someone who is looking for the custom integration. You're basically selling your code as a product, right? But it's not really packaged to be a user product. Like, as a user, if I was able to just give you the license and say that, just track this for me and give me an email alert, I mean, that would be more like a product in my mind. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, you're right. That you're 100% right. I mean, well, you are getting onto something, right? Which is, I'm trying to like use an API, like the code I wrote for this API is a product. Now, is that a product? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably maybe not. But so yeah, that is a future direction, right? Is to create like a UI where like a user could come to the website, punch in an ASIN, and then get the output like on the back end. Like that would be a cool product. Yeah. This is more of an integration type of play, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But I mean, great session. Thank you so much for organizing it. I look forward to getting the YouTube. So I'll kind of review. I'll send you a connection request on LinkedIn as well. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
please do. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we're right on time. So thank you once again, Basel, for wonderful presentation. Thank you guys for joining and all the wonderful questions. Let's see. Next week, we've got another event. It's a podcast episode where I'll be interviewing Nicolai Gerald, who is a AI builder and consultant, and we'll be talking about the reality of building AI agents. So if that sounds interesting at all to you, be sure to join us live for that session. And with that, thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll see you in the next one.